In the Dunlop Series, Dale Wood is in the box seat to take the championship. But at this great track, there can be championship-changing consequences. And all drivers want to stake their claim on the mountain.
Still go, oh, geez, I think it's gotten tighter.
Every time that I've been out, every lap that I've been out, it's been scary.
You know you've done a good job when, you succeed, and you know you've done a bad job when you crash the thing.
Coming onto Conrod every lap and thinking, I'm just happy to have made it across the top of the hill this time, and hopefully I do next time, and the one after that.
Hi everyone and welcome to the grand stage of Australian motorsport. Mount Panorama at Bathurst. It's round 6 today, the penultimate round in the 2013 Dunlop Series for V8 Supercars. Championship is on the line this weekend. 162 points between Dale Wood, who won the last round at Winton, and Ash Walsh, the Queenslander Falcon driver. History shows that if you have a fast car here, you tend to dominate the weekend. 6 times in the last 7 years, the guy that's won race 1 has gone on and won race 2. Just 2 races this weekend, and the weighting of points means that this championship could swing very, very quickly. And for 9 drivers, they're on double duty, competing in also the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 on top of their Dunlop Series commitments. So for a whole range of drivers, it's a big weekend and there's lots on the line.
Championship leader Dale Wood has impressed with his pace and consistency this year. The only thing that had eluded him was a round victory. But at Winton, he sorted that out and heads to Bathurst in the best form of his career.
Confidence is a huge thing. You know, I've had years when the confidence is really low and it's really hard to get that back. It's really only one thing, and that's results and speed that bring that confidence back. So, I feel like we've had that this year. We've had good speed and we've had good results. Winton round win. So it's, now we're at one of the best places in the world. So, and, you can't describe the feeling coming here.
Ash Walsh is 162 points behind in second and has undergone some testing that he hopes will get his season back on track this weekend.
We've definitely had some ups and downs this year, but I've been happy with the way that it's gone, and I think Winton was great for us. Even though we didn't start strong, we were able to turn it around. A little bit sick of coming fourth, which has been, since QR, we've been coming fourth every time, so hopefully we can go a few better this time around.
While the top 2 drivers have challenged for the championship lead, there's been a battle pack behind them. Andrew Jones now sits third in the championship after a consistent performance at his home track of Winton.
Unfortunately, we gave the other guys a reasonably good head start at Adelaide, and then again over in Perth. Adelaide fortunately had a tyre failure while we were running reasonably strong over there, and as soon as you give deficit away, it's hard to come back. But look, at the moment, we're just aiming for podiums every round, and the last 3 rounds have been pretty good for us in terms of points haulage.
Jack Perkins and Steve Owen joined the series to get some crucial miles ahead of the Endurance Cup, in particular the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Both have kept the series frontrunners on their toes and will relish putting their experience to the test on the toughest track of them all.
We've been here now 7 years, as in myself, driving around Bathurst, and I feel really comfortable around the track. I'm not daunted anymore, and I feel as I can keep improving my personal best, my lap times, my races and things, just a lot more comfortable with the way the track is, and I feel as I can really attack it, especially this weekend. I don't have to worry about the championship, and we'll be really focused on trying to get this car, right up the front.
We're all out there for pride and try and bring home some silverware, so it's probably even more intense when you don't have that championship looming over your head. Dale will probably be happy to bring it home in second or third this weekend, and we'll be up there fighting for the win.
But perhaps a surprise challenge could come from one of the youngest drivers, Cameron Waters, who ironically has plenty of experience at Mount Panorama after being part of the Shannon's Supercar Showdown.
Yeah, well, I've done it twice now, so I think I've done a lot of laps here now. I know the track and I know kind of what the cars do, so come practice, it'll just be getting used to the track again and this particular car, but I think I'm in with a good shot.
Time to check out the championship points in the Dunlop Series, and Dale Wood has that great lead over Ash Walsh now. If he can keep it straight and off the walls around this big old mountain, he will have a very commanding championship lead with just the 1 round left after Bathurst. We're all pole position winner. He'll be sharing a car this weekend with Will Davison, but his own car is on pole position. I'm talking about Steve Owen in the Sharon Rentals Falcon. It's V8 Supercar racing at Mount Panorama, one of the best sights in Australian motorsport. So many fans have made their way back to Mount Panorama, and the Dunlop Series boys are heading out.
Mount Panorama as the cars leave on the warm-up lap. It is race 1, round 6 of the Dunlop Series. 32 cars here for the development category. It's the primary support to the super cheap auto Bathurst 1000. Casey Stoner there, if you've just joined us. First time at the mountain, he's qualified 9th. That's a tick. That is probably better than we expected. Speaking of great results, Andre Heimgartner, the young Kiwi, first time in a V8 here. He's had his best Dunlop Series qualifying. He starts from 6th. Steve Owen, Dale Wood, row 1. Jack Perkins and Ash Walsh on row 2. Taz Douglas and Heimgartner next as the rest of the field rolls on through. Some familiar names. Marcus Zukanovic's been around for quite some time. Aaron McGill, more round starts in the Dunlop Series than any other driver. Michael Hector actually lost one of his times from qualifying earlier in the day. And Nandy Kiss missed racing here last year because he crashed earlier in the weekend. So this is really critical in terms of the championship. 300 points on the line, just 2 races, so 150 to the winner of each race. Dale Wood is 162 in front of Ash Walsh. The potential here is for a big swing either way because of the race format and the way the points are weighted.
Yeah, quite different. Obviously, no reverse grid here. The 2 races we've got with the points, you know, you start tomorrow, the next race where you finish this one, and it is absolutely critical. So keep it clean. Dale Wood will have that in his mind. Obviously, Steve Owen not really in the championship hunt at all. Dale Wood just needs to stay ahead of Ash Walsh.
14 laps, green flag at the back. Let's get it started. One of 2 races for the weekend. Steve Owen and Dale Wood, teammates on the front row of the grid. Wood is fighting for the title. Jack Perkins has got a fast Commodore. Lights out, we're underway at Mount Panorama. Wood has made the jump, but not quite enough. Walsh is going nowhere, he's slowing. His championship is going down the toilet late in the season. Owen and Wood, teammates, were so close. But look at Walsh, struggling up the mountain. He's in the mid-pack. That's not where you want to be. Morgan Haber, contact with Sam Walter. It started already.
It certainly has. See the contact. Steve Owen and Dale Wood. Owen holding the inside line. Dale Wood looking down the outside. A bit of contact there. Doesn't look like any damage, though, to those cars. But Ash Walsh gone a long way back. Where is he? There he is, way back there. Must be 17th or 18th position. Great for Dale Wood's championship. But he was keen to beat Steve Owen to turn 1.
And how's Casey Stoner? He's making ground. The Red Bull Commodore is by Andre Heimgartner. He's up to position number 6. But it's Owen, cold tyres, starting to move away from Dale Wood. But for Wood, you got to think big picture. Walsh is back in the pack. That is great news for his championship at this first time across the top of the mountain. Cold tyres.
Well, it actually almost looked like Walsh had broken something. That thing just did not go. He actually moved over to get out of the way, which was a very, very smart piece of driving to avoid anyone coming through that hadn't seen him. But there he is there. Christian Lindbaum right behind him as they flow over Skyline. 2 abreast there. Marcus Zukanovich in the wrong position coming over there through the dip. And look at that shot. Everyone cleanly through. Steve Owen out of the elbow. He's got a little bit of a gap. Jack Perkins right on the back of Dale Wood. He will be looking for the toe. Down Conrod for the first time as they flow cleanly through onto Conrod Straight.
But Owen clearing away. Remember, he'll team up with Will Davison on Sunday. He's got a really big job on board with Jack Perkins, and he tries to close into the chase.
Listen to those V8s.
And he's down the inside. Perkins is through to second in the Caliber Commodore, but Wood is back down the inside. Close! Oh, boys!
He's still got the line. I think Woody's going to come down the inside of him again and take the spot back. These 2 are holding each other up. Steve Owen is going to disappear in the distance. Taz Douglas is going to get on the act here too.
Stoner's dropping back. He's lost a couple of spots. Margin at the line. Owen by 2.1 seconds. While these guys fight, he's clearing away. So it's Wood, Perkins, Taz Douglas, then Andrew Jones, the new look car this weekend. Bianchi model cars are back in car number 20. Then it's Heimgartner, George Medicki, Drew Russell. Stoner slipped back to 9th. Chris Pither, in fact, has got in front of him tonight. So Stoner, after making ground, has slipped back to 10th.
Yeah, Heimgartner obviously needed to get past Casey very quickly. Didn't get away very well, but clearly faster than he is. So he's made the move, managed to get clear of Casey very quickly, and maybe a few more have dragged themselves through as well. There he is, still coming through turn 2. As you say, drop back into 9th position at this stage.
Steve Owen on pole here in the Dunlop Series for the 3rd time. Remember, he's a 2-time series champ in the development category. Tim Edwards watching on, of course, Steve Owen driving for FPR. Look at the margin he is building. And I've got to say, the last couple of rounds, he and Dale Wood has been on top of Steve Owen. But here, where experience is so important, Owen has been the guy who has really... He put 6/10 on the field in qualifying.
Yeah, he did. And, you know, to be honest, I'm not overly surprised with the amount of laps Steve Owen's done around here. He's got a lot of confidence in that car. Replay of the start.
And this is with Paul Morris on the right of screen. And there's Walsh slow. Well, I thought for a second he might have had a fried clutch. Or...
It did look like it, or he'd broken something. But he did a great thing by moving to the side. You know, got himself out of the way, realised he was going to be away slowly. A couple of jumps there by the looks of it. Stalled cars.
Stalls. That's Aaron Tebb in the ex-GRM Commodore, the ex-Fujitsu car. Had a couple of cracks at it. Now, this was also some contact on the first run up Mountain Straight. Morgan Haber and Sam Walter got together.
Here we go.
Part of the drama for Casey Stoner.
This is where he lost those spots, yeah.
Yep.
Obviously off the road there. And did a good job to keep the Red Bull Commodore straight and get it back on the black stuff. But he'll be disappointed with losing those couple of spots. But here we go. Back 2nd and 3rd, Jack Perkins putting the pressure on Dale Wood. He's caught back up, managed to just increase that gap a little bit over Taz Douglas, who's in 4th. Look at the wheel work there out of the cutting. A little bit of oversteer as he's got back on the throttle.
This part of the track, Murph, that all the drivers in the new generation cars, they feel more nervous. These cars, of course, the platform we've used for so many years, lots more data, lots more experience, a lot more drivers that feel comfortable in these cars rather than in the cars that will be in the 1000 on Sunday.
Yeah, and you just have to look at some of the lap times that these guys have been doing in these cars versus the main game cars. Very competitive times that they've been laying down around here in comparison. And you're right, the new generation car. Oh, as you see a lock up from Paul Morris as he comes round into the elbow. Ash Walsh behind will look for a run on him. The new car is pretty twitchy, and a lot of us finding it a little bit difficult to get used to it as Walsh tucked right in behind the Sergeant Security Commodore of Paul Morris. Doesn't get much closeness to the flight. Look at the front of that spoiler, just lifting off the ground at 280, 290 k's an hour.
And Walsh, of course, 2nd in the points. Oh, Morris makes a man of this one. Lucky not to hit Jeff Emery. That's an easy spot for Ash Walsh, so that moves him up to 13th. Remember that the dude will be driving with Scott Pye in the Lucas Dumbrell number 80 car. Can he make it out? I think he will. He'll get to that grass verge on the outside of the sand trap, but that will drop the dude way back.
That was a very late lock-up too there for Paul. Looked a bit strange. There's a gang of the cars here as he comes back on. There's cars going everywhere.
And this is the tail of the field. Brett Hobson in the solo Commodore is heading to the lane. Aaron McGill and Aaron Tebb, battle of the double A's. They are right back in the pack, but the action here is just as good as it is up the front. The increase in equipment that these teams have got has been fantastic this year, but this guy leads. Steve Owen, 2.8 seconds in front and starting to move away. We're underway, lap 4 at Bathurst. Back at Bathurst with the Dunlop Series, we're riding on board with Rodney Jane, 777 Ford, looking back at Josh Hunter, rookie, here at Bathurst this weekend in the Finance Easy Ford.
And we're in the tow. Hunter looking left. Rodney Jane quite narrow again. He's going to use a lot of road on the exit.
That's Brett Stewart there trying to limp back to the pits with a puncture on the Interquip Commodore. He's going to
have to get across the track here.
He's done okay. He's found a gap in the traffic to get across. There's Ash Walsh. He's just got by Jeff Emery. That's for position 12 as Hunter continues.
Oh, very loose Rodney Jane under brakes.
He's putting the pressure on the young gun. He's only a teenager. First year in the Dunlop Series, and this is the car that he's driving. This was True Blue last year with...
Here we go. Alex putting his nose into one, and he's managed to do it nice and clean. This will give McBride a bit of an opportunity, too, to get a bit of a run on Rod Jane up Mountain Straight. Here he is, McBride. He's got his nose on the inside.
And you'd think that from the intensity of the contest that this was for the lead. It's for 16th in the race. Hunter, ex-Dick Johnson Racing, 888 built Ford, Rodney Jane on board, and ex-Craig Lowndes Falcon. And This is a replay of Paul Morris making a mistake down at the chase and running off the road. He's back to 25th. And he actually was close.
Oh, I think he's locked the rears there very late in the stop. Very late in the stop, and he had nowhere to go. He did a good job of actually turning it to the right to miss Jeff Emery.
He
He's
did
come
a bad
back
job
on.
of the rejoin, though. Oh, no, straight in front of the traffic. He sent them spiralling everywhere. That'll cop a penalty for sure from race control.
Well, from the in-car, when we were watching him come back on, we couldn't tell, but there was a gaggle of cars when we changed shot. And then that's what the reason was. As we see Dale Wood, Rihanna is in the pit lane, though.
Yeah, just watching this lively battle here in the garage of Fujitsu Racing with Scott McLaughlin. Jack is doing a nice job out there.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Great start, and he's battling with Dale Wood there. He's a bit angry after qualifying, but yeah, he's doing a great job.
Jack Perkins here is driving the car that actually Scott drove last year with Jonathan Webb. They finished 6th for the Techno team, but this is the fight for P2. Steve Owen leads the way. He's built that margin to 4.2 seconds. It's half race distance, and Murph, we've been calling the Dunlop Series all year. 5 round winners from the 5 rounds so far. It's been a really good series, and it's been aided by this influx of the cars from the championship that are no longer eligible for the main game. The level of gear stepped up, the level of driving has stepped up, and some guys like Dale Wood, for instance, who's been around for a little while, this is the best bit of kit he's been able to get his backside in, and he's doing the job.
Yeah, no question, mate. I mean, it's we've obviously had that big change and evolution with race cars, with the car of the future coming online, and the availability of this equipment, and obviously it's become obsolete for all the main game teams, and the opportunity for it to fall into.
And that's not a shock. That is from race control. Paul Morris will get a pit lane penalty.
Yep.
For dangerous re-entry. It's your responsibility if you go off the road to come back on safely and not affect the other traffic, and that certainly was not the case.
It's perplexing why he actually used all that road coming out. I mean, he was going very slowly. Why he didn't hold over right to the right-hand side of the circuit coming back on instead of driving all the way out. Jack Perkins pushing out of the elbow. A little bit of oversteer in that car as he puts the power down and drops his way down Conrod Straight. The gap has opened up a little bit there to Dale Wood. I don't know if Jack is just biding his time a little bit, saving those tyres, although it didn't look like it coming on to Conrod Straight. But the gap, the biggest it's been so far this race, as Steve Owen maintains that just over 4-second lead.
Casey Stoner here trying to put a move on Drew Russell. This is for 8th place. Chris Pither just behind in the Ice Break Coffee Commodore. Walsh is just with them, so he's starting to work his way towards the top 10. This is critical for him to stay in the championship. And remember, we've commented during the year that there was a technical change partway through this Dunlop series in terms of shocks and suspension that affected Walsh's team, the Matt Stone Racing Squad. One of the brands they were using, they were no longer permitted to use, so that they didn't have a chance before Winton to do some testing to start to redevelop their setup. They have been before this weekend, but it was a really hot day at Queensland Raceway, as you know. On a stinking hot day at Ipswich, it's hard to learn much with the condition of tyres that you've got and the weather that you've got. So he's done a good job to be on the second row of the grid, but this is when you've got to hang tough if you're ever going to win a title. You've got to be good on the bad days rather than being great on the good days.
Yeah, that change that they had to make in their damper package to that car did seem to coincide a little bit with a performance change in that car. So, you know, if it was more mental or it was absolute performance, you know, probably a bit of both as well, has affected where he's been. And really, the run since then for him has been nowhere near as how he started the championship, which was really strong.
We should point out, too, nothing that team did wrong. It was just a rule change that came into this series in a bid to make sure that the costs were being kept under control. But it is Steve Owen leads the way. Casey Stoner. Wow, lucky. I've seen Alan Moffat.
There we go.
I've seen guys go into the wall there. Drew Russell, too, was wide across the top. Lucky there's bitumen there now. Wow.
These guys are pushing. Casey Stoner's learning a lot about Mount Panorama today in his Red Bull Commodore. I wonder if Drew Russell saw him in the mirror and took his eye off where he was going. But here we go, just clipping the curb at the exit of McPhillamy as on the approach to Skyline, and grabs a whole lot, I should say, of grass and dirt, and then stayed on it to have a little bit of an oversteer moment. Got it back on again. Good job by him. Here's the replay.
Real time. I've seen Alan Moffat crash there, Win Percy, some of the greats. He got away with it.
And Drew Russell was very wide in the skyline. I'm not surprised. Hey, he's using it up again, Casey Stoner. He's having a whale of a time here at Bathurst.
He is really pushing hard. The MotoGP World Champ, he sits position 9. But Steve Owen continues to lead the way. On the run home in the Dunlop Series at Bathurst, and Casey Stoner is looking for a move on Drew Russell. We've talked a lot, Murph, this weekend about Casey's first time here. He actually did come here in February and did one of those drive day programs and had some tutelage from John Bow, who really helped him out. Roland Dane, the boss of Triple Eight, watching on. Oh no, Aaron Temp is in a really bad position here at the top of the mountain.
It's getting worse too.
Well, remember, this car was slow away off the grid and it wouldn't move. Now he gets it clear. Boy, that is a real worry because he's driver's side to the oncoming traffic. Double yellow flags is the indicator to the drivers that there is a serious drama on the track up in front. He's cleared the area. That is good news. But if you can't refire it, it's going to be hard to back that car in. You can see the way that the road climbs there. It's pretty much blind. Let's have a look again. Here? He's got out close to the wall, turned in.
That's fluid or tyre.
Yeah,
he's got actually a left front puncture or something there with a tyre.
Or has it just dropped something underneath and spun on itself?
Sure,
either way.
The left front of that car looked very low when he was coming through and they're leaving that black mark. So I'm not sure if it's fluid or there's another issue there with suspension. But anyway.
Safety car's called though, Murph.
Safety car.
We're on lap 11 of 14. And that's another reason why. Sam Walter, the Black Chrome Commodore, is bogged. So this will bring Dale Wood, Jack Perkins right into the game. This is why the safety car's out. Sam Walter locked the rears trying to get a move on Nick McBride, and he's just rolled into the sand and he got bunkered. Christian Limbom as well, having a spin right in front of Cam Waters. Craziness. And it looks like, Murph, we might end up with a one-lap dash to the checker flag. Steve Owen jumps on the throttle just before he has to brake for this final turn at Murray, so they get to the control line. It is a sprint to the line. Steve Owen and Dale Wood lead us back to the control line. Perkins, Douglas, Andrew Jones are chasing. And Owen has never won a Dunlop Series race at this track. He's a two-time Series champ, but the mountain has never been too kind to him in those championship years as he leads us back up the hill one more time.
Taz Douglas is forcing Jack Perkins down the inside. He's had to cover himself. Obviously, Taz got a good run out of turn 1 up the hill. Perkins' thing just looks a little bit taily. I think he might have used up some of those rear tyres. Dale Wood looking pretty comfortable. He's not going to put any pressure on Steve Owen, I don't think, for this lap. And he realises and knows his position in the championship. He's going to make a really good gain here on Ash Walsh. And that's what he needs to do for this championship.
And Walsh is back in position number 10. Remember, he was slow off the line and has been back in the pack ever since. Taz Douglas looks pacey on low-pressure tyres. That Arvo BF40 will team up with James Moffat in the 360 Norton Nissan. That's a great shot this year of how fast these cars are across the top of McPhillamy Park as they drop down this last time.
Yeah, everyone doing a good job after the restart. Linus third, as Jack has made a bit of a gain on Taz Douglas. He's got away from him. He's not going to have to worry about him into the chase for the last time. He's made a bit of a gain on Dale Wood as they flow through the elbow for the last time. Ash Walsh, he's looking like he's going to come home. He's managed to actually get into 9th position. We didn't see that pass. He's made a move on Stoner on that lap somewhere and gathered one more spot, which is fantastic for him.
Oh, Heimgartner's made a mistake.
He's going to gain another spot here too.
Yep, he's through the bunker, the young Kiwi, but history could show very strongly for Steve Owen. 6 of the last 7 years, the driver that's won race 1 in the Dunlop Series goes on and wins race 2, but it's Steve Owen who leads home a 1-2 for MW Motorsport.
The action's not over just yet, Aaron, as we come in the last corner. It's all on in the Dunlop Series.
And Walsh got to 8th. That's critical. More points, better grid position for the deciding race tomorrow afternoon. But Steve Owen, well done. FPR will be happy with that. That is a nice start to the weekend. Darwood, remember, teams up with Chaz Monster, but there's lots of work to do down at Dick Johnson Racing to get that Greens Tough Ford back on the grid as history repeated today. Could you believe that car being damaged? Here's the order. Jack Perkins next from Taz Douglas, then Andrew Jones, George Mediki, Drew Russell, Walsh, Casey Stoner top 10 on his debut at the Mountain, and Aaron Russell, Drew's brother, rounding out the top 10.
Well, Steve, you made that look easy, but this track, I'm sure it wasn't.
It's never easy. Even slow laps around here are tough, but car was very good. We had a good run in qualifying, and that continued on into the race.
When the safety car came out, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought to myself just before they came out, imagine if a safety car came out now, I've built all this lead, but I was pretty confident I had some good pace, and I hang on the tyres just in case that happened, because it so often does in Dunlop series.
Well done.
Thank you.
Stay with us after the break. Can Steve Owen go back-to-back? We'll find out when race 2 gets underway at Bathurst.